Welcome back. When it comes to Australia Day, there's one thing we can depend on, and that is the Australia Day lamb ad with our Lambassador, Sam Kekovich.
It's always thought-provoking, and this year's campaign calls for Australia to unite with New Zealand to become New Australia Land.
As we all know, Australia is the greatest country on earth. But frankly, right now, New Zealand is doing Australia better than Australia.
So we propose we unite to create New Australia.
Name's a bit stink.
Land. New Australia Land.
Very clever, the Kiwis. They've picked it up and they're running with it, even launching the New Australia Lund website. Our masters of spinner here, advertising experts Matthew Bywater and Jane Caro. Good morning to you both. Happy Australia Day. Matthew, it feels like this has got away from us.
They have. They've messed up. They should have had that URL so they could actually own that. But I think it's a huge opportunity for them. I mean, the Kiwis have done, MLA or the Lamb guys, a great service by extending this further. I want to see a relay. I want to see this little tennis match going on back and forth, and they could really push this out a lot further than what they're currently getting.
It feels a bit like an own goal here, Jane, not grabbing that domain name, but so clever of the New Zealanders to act on this very, very quickly. And they said, once they put it out there, things like Air New Zealand came on board and said, let's be part of it too. But I love this completely from beginning to end, because what it is brands having fun, being cheeky, having a bit of a game with one another. Countries, brands, you know, lamb, which the New Zealanders, of course, produce a lot of as well. And I love that spirit of actually kind of bantery camaraderie, which I think it doesn't matter who owns the URL. The URL will kind of fade away.
All of that's right, but has it got away from what it was all intended for in the first place, and that is to sell lamb? Does this sell lamb now, or do we just sit back and be enjoyed by the show?
Well, we'll see, but they've been remarkably successful. In some years, up to 35% increase in lamb sales, week-on-week sales from previous years. So they have been hugely successful in selling lamb.
I agree. I think what this has done now is it's set up an institution around lamb. It's given lamb that larrikin flavour, if you like. And as well, we wait for this ad. What's it going to do? And we know it's going to be controversial. We know it's going to upset some people, and we look forward to that. It's great.
Interestingly, in the era of Twitter outrage, previous years, the ad has been very controversial. By comparison, you must admit, Jane, this feels a little bit safer.
Yeah, I guess so. But I think to hear Australia actually kind of say, you know what, with Jacinda Ardern as Prime Minister and looking at our recent circular Prime Minister thing going on, I think it's a rather nice, humble ad to come out of Australia, accepting our limitations just at this moment.
Putting our hand up and saying we're not as good as we could be, but we're working to get better. Sam Kekovich, the original Lambassador, only a 2-second cameo in this, can't be good for next year. How long is he going to get next year?
Just a picture of him on the wall.
Well, he's actually moved on. He's actually part of another campaign targeting tradies to buy locally made products. I mean, he's really making the most of his time in the sun during January, February, Sam. A bit cheeky for him to be running both in the lamb ad and this ad, which actually sort of takes that message and skews it a bit.
Yes, but I think this is very good for lamb, because I think the thing is Sam Kekovich is really associated with lamb now, and so when that ad runs, everyone goes, oh, why is he doing an ad for tape measures? Isn't he usually the lamb guy? Lamb hasn't paid for that, and they're getting exposure from it. They must be very pleased with those tape manufacturers.
That's free exposure for him. And if Sam can do an ad every year for whatever company, it doesn't matter. Lamb's going to get that, because we know Lamb. Unless you're an absolutely avid AFL supporter, that's all we know Sam Kekovich as Lamb. He's a Lamb guy.
If we found out he was vegetarian.
Looking at Sam, I don't think that's going to happen. Let's talk about cosmetics company Avon. When I was a kid, the Avon lady would come calling. Now they've scrapped an ad campaign following claims that Avon shamed women while promoting a skincare range to reduce cellulite. The slogan was "Dimples are cute on your face, but not your thighs." They got this pretty wrong, didn't they, Matthew?
Yeah, look, this is a tough one. If you're in the area of cosmetics, that's what you do. You work on dimples, you work on wrinkles. You're supposed to say, look, if you got wrinkles, you got dimples, we got something for that. I don't think it's that harsh. I mean, there's been much worse advertising in the cosmetics and beauty industry, which have really shamed women. I think this is called a borderline.
I feel like here, Jane, the mistake that they made was they tried to include the tagline that everybody's beautiful, but here's something for your cellulite. So they're trying to cash in on that positive body message.
Mostly you're not. I think the problem is everybody has dimples on their thighs. If you sit down and you are a normal, natural human being.
Including blokes.
Including blokes. And so I just think maybe if they'd said, but
not everywhere, or there are places where maybe you don't want them. Being a little bit less body specific, maybe they'd have got away with it. But there is an issue. Cosmetics companies sell insecurity in women. They have a problem with that.
I've got it. Next year's ad, Sam Kekovich doing ads for Avon showing us his dimples. There you go. It's perfect.
You're a genius.
He doesn't have cellulite because lamb's so good for you. Thank you, Jane.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Good
you,
on you.
Matt. Thanks for coming in this morning. Coming up on Weekend Sunrise, the best Aussie films of all time. Find out which classic topped the list.